Hello, fellow Africans. Welcome to Onia Digital Media. My name is Paul Lingua, and in today's episode, we'll be looking at two videos talking about the behavior or the attitude of Africa leaders. And in a jiffy, I'll be bringing this and many more to you. So let's take a break. All right, so welcome back. In today's episode, just as I said early on, there is this videos that I have chanced on, which actually is centered on Africa leaders' behavior, and it's worth sharing with you because I expect that at the end of the day, you also tell us, okay, in the comment section, what you think about African leaders. Now, fast forward, there is this video of the New Force movement, that is Nana Bediako, popularly known as Sheda, and making a shocking statements, okay, and it's actually gaining a lot of eyebrows, and people are actually jumping onto it. Africa, okay, is what is at his heart, and is much particular about the behavior of African leaders. In the video, he said something that is actually shocking, and I want you to take a look at it.
We don't have sensible rulers. The divine leader is very sensible. Chinese leader is very sensible. American leader is very sensible. European leader, English, England, the leaders are sensible. Come to Africa, their senses in their belly. Yes, we eat meat, eat fat, we eat everything. Instead of turning it to business, the cassava will eat it all. The plantain will eat it. They do want it. Any market. A small baby rabbit didn't see. Or see all my fight brow. Oh, and that's a friend. No. Or persuading it to me. Oh, you know, our girlfriend. Oh, girlfriend needs to now look at it. You're helping someone and bringing something good into your country. You know, up for the leather, not air towel, leather jackets, leather chairs. They have been letting regular.
All right, so you've seen what he has said. And he's saying that Africa, okay, leaders are not sensible. And that is how he sees things, okay, about African leaders. He said the American leader is sensible, the Chinese leader is sensible, the Dubai leader is sensible, the American leader is sensible, the German leader, all the leaders from the developed countries are sensible. But it's only in Africa that we have leaders that are not sensible. And he went ahead to talk about the fact that everything we produce in Africa, we consume it. Instead of them thinking how to turn those things into businesses, we consume everything. And that is what he sees as a problem with African leaders. Yes, now let's take a look, okay, at another video that is talking about the behavior of Africa.
One of Africa's biggest cancers is that Africans, for whatever reason, seem insistent on electing leaders who've built nothing and then wonder why they build nothing. You've built nothing. You've created nothing. But for your words and political oratory, your ability to hold a tune and sing a verse, your ability to fill a stadium with poor people on the promise of a food hamper and a t-shirt, and then we vote for you. And we wonder why you don't know how to build roads or houses or balance a budget or just make sure that crime and law and order is in place. We elect clowns and then give them the seat of the headmaster's office.
All right, so you could clearly see that in the second video, he is talking about the cancer, okay, or one of the cancers in Africa. And he says that our leaders, okay, build virtually nothing. They create nothing, and they wonder what they've done. He feels like the African leaders, okay, are not doing anything to see the growth of its citizens, and that is sickening. So you see, at the end of it all, you come to appreciate the fact that people have made these observations, and that is the true reflection of Africa we have today. Africa leaders have made the place not conducive and not, comfortable for its citizens to reside in. and they resort to many things. And in the first video, you could clearly see or hear the man saying that all the African leaders think about is their stomach, nothing else but their stomach. And they fail to think. This man who said African leaders are not sensible, it's someone that I actually appreciate so much, because if you look at what he has achieved for himself, okay, using his brains, it's in fact, it is so marveling. And if we should have someone like Sheda, okay, in one of the African countries, leading the forefront, trust me, things will be in a good way for African leaders or Africans staying in that country. Because someone who is able to use his head to turn things around, to amass wealth for himself, tells you clearly that he has the knowledge, he has the capability to put Africa in a good shape. And that is the crux of the matter. African leaders are not sensible. That's what he believes. What do you think? What do you think about African leaders? Do you think they are sensible? Whatever comment or what opinion you hold about African leaders, don't forget to drop it in the comment section, so that we will get this interaction going, so that all Africans watching this very video or this platform will come to appreciate that our problem is the African leaders and not any other thing. Because if you have leaders, okay, like in China, like in America, like in UK, like in Germany, Dubai, even Saudi Arabia, the Middle East, where they think so deep about the people and how to turn things around, trust me, we will be far gone. I have chanced on a document, okay, a news card, where it stated that someone was sent from UK, okay, to actually understudy or to study the terrain of Africa. The person came and lived for over 20 years, went back to the British Parliament, and then told them that, look, Africa is so rich in culture, rich in their, they have rich land, and Africa will never go hungry. In Africa, what do you see today? People starve. In Africa, what do you see today? Our culture is being, destroyed gradually, which you do not know. What do we see in Africa today? When there is misunderstanding, okay, in the advanced world or developed world, what happens is that Africa catches cold. We talk about food we do not have. And we tend to cry to the advanced world where they don't even have that good land to cultivate. We were noted for being good farmers and farm and cultivate a lot of produce to feed our people. But today, we now go out to beg for what? Food. Come to think of it, isn't that sickening as Africans? So it's high time we think outside the box as Africans. It's high time we look at the way we elect leaders, because these old age leaders being elected into power, trust me, are not abreast with the current situation and the current economic system. And that is what we are suffering. Just look around all the African countries. You hardly see young people being elected. And these young people are embodiment of the, knowledge. Embodiment of new era knowledge and not the old knowledge. They can drive the affairs of countries, to the level that matches up, okay, with the current, technology and then happiness we have in the world now. But come to think of it, isn't that sickening that Africa catches cold whenever there is a war here between two developed countries? Our leaders don't think of, how to develop the agri sector so that we could possibly get food for ourselves. They don't think about that. So these are some of the things, and I'm very sure that at the end of this episode, you'll be wondering and you have a reset, okay, of your mind. Yes, your mind will be reset, because what these great people have said about African leaders, trust me, should tell us that indeed before we could get out of this big problem, then it will take us a long time, because people fail to use their head to think. And we, the people, okay, I mean, if I say the people, the Africans, we also fail to think, because we elect these very old people into power. We don't look at the qualities. Look, today, if someone should come with all sincerity, okay, talking about how he could possibly develop this place, and from business angle or sector, you will reject that person just because you are tuned to the major political parties in your countries. And that is what is happening in Africa, because we are tuned to the old parties, and if fresh things are coming up, we don't appreciate them. Don't forget, I've always made this observation about, how democracy and how things are done in Africa. All right, so just as I was saying, so I've always made an observation, and I've concluded that, okay, most of these people that we elect came from party lines, right? And whichever way things are done, they are controlled by the tenets, the maxims, the doctrine, okay, of their parties. And there is no way that, okay, the people involved getting that person, voted into power will not, achieve their interest. And that is to make money for themselves. African leaders, that's all they think about. And our politicians, that's what they think about. Make money for themselves, their family and friends. So now, let's look at it this way. Someone that came into, leading a political party, and coming from that angle where the political party has actually trained him to be there, and someone who has no political, traces, at the end of it all, what happens? The one that comes from the political background to be a flag bearer or to lead a political party will be controlled. But the one with the political traces, okay, will not be controlled, because it is not from the political angle or side that he is coming to lead the country, or he has actually, navigated through to be where he is. No. You get it? But, because the old parties are in our blood, that is why we feel to bring the new people to steer the affairs of African countries. That is our problem. If we begin to think differently and behave differently towards the people that will bring, the political party bring forth, I think Africa will become a better place for you and I. But if we fail and continue to do the things of the old, that is to say, still being attuned to these political parties, the old political parties, then our woes continues, and Africa will never be a better place. Yes, you've heard it all. The African leaders are not sensible, and that is the truth. And the other one who said one of the major cancers we have in Africa is the leaders. They build nothing, they create nothing, and they do nothing. The little that we have, they come and then they amass it to themselves, right? Leaving the poor people. Water to drink, food to eat becomes a problem. It's actually sickening that Africa, we haven't these things, all over. And there's no place in Africa that people are not suffering. Why in Africa? Yes, in other countries, yes, we know that people are suffering. But Africa is, let me say, it's too much in Africa. So, what I want you to understand from this episode is that African leaders are not sensible. What do you think about African leaders? Do you think they are sensible? Do you think African leaders are our problem? Drop your comment in the section below. The dew of the day has crept upon our thoughts, and nature must obey its necessity. This is where we draw the curtains onto this episode, until we meet again in our next video. My name is Paul Lingua.